system. What the idea is that you have to learn how to pitch your idea clearly and concisely. And once you learn how to do that, then you can bring in all the stakeholders and you can get into programs that'll help you and train you on how to build it. But that first step is you have to design a business model that is desirable.
When I initially moved back to Pensacola, I had a meeting with Lloyd. Lloyd invited me for breakfast and I was telling him, man, I still have an idea for the entertainment industry. This is what I wanted to do. He was like, all right, I got Startup on the Blocks. So I need you to start coming to Startup on the Blocks and get a little more information on how to work through the tech ecosystem and take your idea and we'll get you where you need to go. My company is called The Know, is an app that is streamlining business for the entertainment industry. Yeah, so if you're a musician, what you would do is pretty much jump on the platform, you'll create a profile, but the way we created the profile is pretty much a cleaner way. So now if they want more information about you, you'll connect your social media platforms, your streaming platforms, and that way they can go directly to it. What we also have included is your calendar. So pretty much you can set your days, you can set your price for your days and automate your booking. So initially talking to Lloyd, my idea was all here, it was there, it was over here, it was over there. It was like, all right, Quinn, I get it. You got a lot that you want to do, but we need you to bring it in just a little bit and then work on your pitch, your story, and how you're going to bring it full circle to get people to understand what you're trying to create.
Most of the programs here wasn't inclusive, and so we said we'll focus on helping founders of color. We also start at the beginning of the thing, at the idea stage, whereas a lot of the programs you see here locally, they start after you're up, and that's not very efficient unless if you don't have a lot of money, you can't recover from your mistakes. And the lean startup system, it actually helps you make mistakes faster before you spend a lot of money. You don't actually start building anything until you got customer buy-in.
There was a need for small businesses to bring brand awareness to their business. I see there's a lot of makers and bakers that they're making all of these goodies and these products, but they can't market it, they can't sell it at the same time, and there needs to be kind of like that middleman, that middle person to help bring economic growth to some of the small businesses in Pensacola. So Taste of Pensacola, I came up with that idea during the pandemic when I saw things at that time that Amazon couldn't fulfill. They didn't even have those products, but the local people in the community, they did. And so there was a ton of people coming out saying, hey, I make masks. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. All the local people here that are just as talented that can actually make those products. And so I wanted to kind of showcase who they were. So with Taste of Pensacola, our income streams, we have several of them. We have the corporate America, we do corporate gifting, just regular consumers, different Pensacola natives that don't live here that want to purchase our boxes, like a taste of weddings, distribution. So we also do bulk sales. So for a private airline, if they want some local snacks and goodies on their passenger flights, they will come to Taste of Pensacola and we will source their vendors here locally. And we'll give a small business owner an opportunity to have reoccurring monthly sales. I've always had a really big vision for Taste of Pensacola. I knew that it could go beyond just local. I know that maybe other communities could possibly use the same platform that I'm trying to build. And I always have these big visions, but I never know how to even get there. Where do I start? I know it's more than, there's a lot of technical things behind it. I know there's a lot of research, but that connection, I never had it until, thankfully, again, I met and was introduced to Startups on the Blocks and was able to just learn more about how to grow it in terms of data. Things I just never thought about, framework, words like traction. There's a lot of things that I just did not know about in language that I need to know in order to get funding for my business. There's just a lot that I didn't know.
I would go to the stores and look online. They didn't have a wide variety of natural hair products about 8 years ago. And the ones that they did have, the ingredients, it would say that they were all natural. And when I would research the ingredients, a lot of the ingredients were not natural. I make everything, my shampoo, conditioner, I have an oil that I make, and I have 2 different separate butters. Like I had some people who were completely bald and grew their hair. It's about giving women their confidence back in their hair. I have this salon and I have a second salon, and I have my products in about 5 beauty supply stores. So I need a manufacturer to keep up with the demand at this point. Startup on the Blocks has helped my business grow. Send me to different people. I'm able to do different pitch competitions to apply for grants in the community for small businesses. Lloyd's a really good person to connect with. He has a lot of resources here in the community that can help small businesses grow. If you have a product out there and you're trying to go big time, he's the person that you would want to meet with.
So it's really important to have some type of support because 9 times out of 10, most founders start out on their own. And to have somebody that has an idea of how the ecosystem works and is able to tap into other resources and bring back to the community, and that pretty much has encountered some of the roadblocks or going through the same roadblocks that we're currently going through and understands where you're at, your culture and how you respond to things, is a big help because you don't really have too many people that have access to what we have access to here in the community. And a lot of people believe that you have to leave and go to bigger cities to do the things that we're doing here. But I mean, it's one thing to have exposure, but you have to actually know it's here in the community in order to take advantage of the resources. So I get approached and I talk to friends all the time that wants to either start an idea or hear that I'm actually doing the app and wants to know more information about how are you doing it or what's the process, what's the path. I'm like, man, we have somebody here, Startup on the Blocks, Lloyd Richard. And Lloyd is here, he's a great resource to the community and to founders that's trying to learn the ecosystem. So join Startup on the Blocks.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Startup on the Blocks. We got a couple of guests tonight, Ison and Michelle. Michelle, if you turn your camera and mic on, we get going here, get you on stage. So how you two doing today?
Good evening. All is well. Thank you, Lloyd, for the opportunity to join you tonight.
Fantastic. Looks like your mic is still off, Ison, if you would turn it on.
Mine is on.
I'm here.
Okay,
I'm here.
Yeah. So, glad to have you both here. We're going to get started off with thanking our sponsors. As you all can see, we have several sponsors, a couple of banks, and our Florida Power and Light, and Bit Foundation, and Industry Hotel, and just a bunch of folks that have joined in to help us help founders. And that's really, really, really fantastic. So it's nice to know that you've got organizations out there that want to help founders move forward. Michelle, I think could you imagine a hotel chain wanting to sponsor and help entrepreneurs?
I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah. Industry Hotels, they put up the money for our first 3 pitch competitions. Yeah,
oh, that's outstanding.
Yeah,
they have a strong reputation in the community.
Yes, and then the first bank, they came on and helped us with some pitch competition money. And I just realized there's some other companies I need to add here, but Residence Bank is going to be one of our new sponsors this year. So we're happy to have them. And we definitely want to thank Bantucola. They share this particular broadcast over a lot of social media platforms, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, you name it, they share it out there. And so it's definitely on a lot of Facebook pages. And so that's a really, really good deal. Both the local chambers help us out, and that little green circle there, that's the Startup Science. And we're definitely excited about the partnership with them. They came aboard last fall and provided us with some great entrepreneurship training. So we got the Lean Stack that shows the founders how to design a scalable business model and get that customer buy-in. And then we got the Startup Science platform that actually teaches founders how to fill out all the application for the accelerator programs and how to communicate, what they're doing, and all the terms and how to answer what all the terms mean and how to answer them. So we got it covered for founders to get started. Yes, awesome. And so just take a minute or so to introduce yourself. And Michelle, if you would go first.
Certainly. Thank you for the opportunity. Good evening. I am Michelle Sims, and I work remotely for a public consulting group. We're in 4 countries and 30 states across the United States. I work to develop opportunities in business for entrepreneurship as well as apprenticeship in a variety of professions. So I am delighted to join you all tonight.
Yes, and you're going to be sharing the information about the CEOH upcoming cohort, and I think that's going to be the last one, right?
Yes, it is the last one. This is grant funded, and I'm looking forward to being able to share some information about it tonight.
Okay, fantastic. Ayrton?
Yes, hello everyone. So my name is pronounced Ihsan. The H is silent.
Okay.
My day job, I work at McKinsey and Company. I work as a junior software engineer and primarily working with the Salesforce tech stack. But in terms of my passion and you could say my 5 to 12 job, I'm the founder and CEO of Pursuit of Excellence Technologies Incorporated. And so what we do is we help create safe spaces for people utilizing technology such as artificial intelligence, sensing devices, and the Internet of Things. And I'll be happy to share my experience and also tell a little bit more about our company.
Well, it's not too often we get a technical guy on, so we're glad to have you on. Looking forward to the chat after that. And so Michelle is going to tell us a little bit about this upcoming cohort and what we like to help people understand what we do. We try to help founders get the right mindset, and we want them to learn the skills and practices for building a startup. And if they get this mindset and get these skills, they can unlock all the resources that are out there in the ecosystem. That's kind of like a one slide model of what we try to do. But the mindset is the key. That's where it all starts at. And this is just an example of a journey that a founder goes through from beginning, getting the idea and trying to validate it and the vision and all that stuff and just keep going on. Then the startup science, this is their approach to the journey that a founder goes on. And so their training actually takes you through all of these stages and what you should know at all these stages and how you could communicate. So it's a pretty fantastic system that those founders develop. And what I tell people, what's so fantastic about that, the entrepreneurs that created this program, they've been involved in 14 startups that had 14 exits, and that where they sold their company to companies like eBay and Adobe. So this is the best training you can get, and to kind of understand what it is to be a founder and how to think about it. And our gold standard for the Lean Startup methodology is the Lean Stack platform. And so we take founders through these first two phases of the journey with the business model design, this demand generation part. And I think I got something else I want to show here real quick to kind of help people understand. And it's you are going through this Bid Idea Accelerator right now, and we had the kickoff meeting on Monday. And as you see, you learn, you do your business model with the Lean Canvas, and then you do get the diagnostics done. And then you stress test your business model, and you use the traction roadmap to kind of help stress test it. And basically, what I tell people about that is you can model your business, your finances of your business model with just 7 numbers, just to kind of see if it's desirable, viable, and feasible. And so we take the founders through these stages. And what I found out after interviewing and over 150 founders over the past 2.5 years, and plus all the programs I've been in, that no program I've been in before ever teaches founders how to design a scalable business model. So we're trying to make sure people understand the value you get from this training. And we don't charge our founders anything for going through this training. We just want them to get in there and do the work. So yeah. So what do you think so far, Essen, about the program from your first day?
So it's interesting you asked that question, Lloyd. I was actually speaking with my co-founder before joining this call. And so I was telling him, I was actually raving about it. For one, I invited him because we're allowed, if we have an actual team, you're allowed to invite them into the accelerator. So I invited him. He was very happy. He was very excited. But I was telling him just about the course. I was telling him how the course makes it fun. So rather than them just teach you, they actually created a story. And through the story, you're actually learning about, they're comparing between the two founders, and you're seeing how one founder, he turns his business into like an art project or his own personal project, versus the other founder, Larry, who got to work, began gaining traction, then demoing, and then started to sell his product. So, just in the first week alone, I know, my company, we were fortunate because we had advisors. So someone told us to create a lean canvas. So that was actually the first thing. I remember sitting at Temple University and actually doing it myself, trying to do it all in one sitting. And so that was the first thing we successfully did. We did do the business plan, and yes, we got benefit from it. But, to answer your question, I find it very, very useful because it kind of helps you avoid some of the pitfalls that a lot of people and entrepreneurs do. Because 9 out of 10 times, the first thing that comes to your mind is I need a business plan. When that's how things used to work, but it no longer works today.
Right. And so we don't want founders to aimlessly wander out there trying to get to that this product market fit where you start to scale. We want you to kind of go through the methodology and find a plan that works, and so you don't waste a lot of money and you don't get disappointed. And what I've noticed over the past 2.5 years, I've been running into founders that actually have a broken business model, and they may not make it to the product market fit. And so we're just trying to make sure they can kind of get to that point. We have our own playbook. I won't go into that too much, but we put it out in the newsletter every week. And we have a lot of tools and stuff that we use to support the founders to kind of get them prepared for these different programs that are out there. And some folks may not be aware of all these different types of programs that you can leverage to fund your startup idea without getting any loan. In some cases, not spending any of your own money, just leveraging these programs to kind of get through. And they're programs, no matter which stage you're at, that you can actually get funding way before you even actually incorporate your business. And we have a bunch of mentors that support our founders. They got a diverse background, and so they're there to help the founders get through the program. We also have some Lean Stack coaches. In this slide, we got Bob Foster, he's a Lean Stack coach, certified coach in Versa Advanced, and myself. And with the BIT program, we actually have 4 more certified coaches, and we're going to get 2 more next month. So we're going to have a bunch of people that are trained on the process. So next we'll go to you, Michelle, and you can kind of tell us about what you got going on.
Thank you, Lloyd. What a phenomenal opportunity that the founders and startup entrepreneurs have available through what you're offering. What I want to share tonight is titled CEO. Okay. This is part of a grant-funded opportunity, and as Lloyd mentioned it, the grant is ending this year. However, this is our last iteration of CEO. I've been a part of the past 4, which started last summer. And prior to my arrival with the company, there were 2 other. And so this time we're focusing on communities of color. So I've been reaching out to chambers of commerce and other organizations that support the efforts of people of color, African Americans in the community, even to U.S. territories. CEO is 10 weeks of instruction for entrepreneurship, and it can be a supplement to what you're offering, Lloyd.
Yes.
So by saying so, the tenets of entrepreneurship are covered over a 10-week period, and there are 15. I'll name just a few for clarity. Those are knowing how to build a business plan, marketing, legal considerations, succession planning, financials for business, and so much more that can be encapsulated in a 10 weeks period. CEO meets 2 nights a week starting March 21st. And I appreciate you for sharing this slide because the community kickoff event is something we're very excited about. This event will be on March 14th at 6 p.m. I am including in the chat the application or the link to the application for CEO. As I shared, it's free. And this is because of being a Department of Labor funded entity. We're able to offer this at no cost to people that qualify. So what does that mean? The youngest age would be 17. So if you know of someone who is 17 or older who is not enrolled in school, and one thing for certain is we do not have any impediment regarding K through 12 education. So this person must either have decided to stop continuing their education at age 17, whether that's 11th or 12th grade, across to the spectrum of adults who are retired, veterans, or those who may have discovered a talent at some point during the pandemic. This course is rigorous. There's homework, there are modules, but you'll be working in teams. And of course, because it is individual responsibility, you will, of course, have your own modules. However, you'll be working with a team to accomplish the goal of a presentation at the end of the session, which will be 10 weeks later. So I'm excited about this because it's a free opportunity to gain more knowledge about apprenticeship, not just apprenticeship, but more knowledge about entrepreneurship. It's such a key factor now with people being laid off in the tech industry, as well as layoffs occurring in other entities across the country. It's great to know that there is a free resource that is available to teach the tenets of entrepreneurship so that those who may have had aspirations of becoming their own boss can now learn the foundation of how to do so. The next part is we said that we build entrepreneurs as well. So if you decide at some point that entrepreneurship is not for you, the lessons in CEO will allow you, if you take them to heart, become a stronger employee because you understand the workings of the business from the inside.
Yeah, it sounds like these things that you're learning are like the business operations manager would have to know these things, or a COO would have to know these things.
That's correct.
Yeah, business operations specialist. So it's really fantastic. Looks like you've got a QR code on there. Is that to register for the program?
I'm glad you asked. That is to actually apply for a seat in the virtual classroom. So yes, okay. There's a link, as I shared in the chat, that you can use if you are not using the QR code to register. Okay. So the community kickoff on the 14th is a great place to learn more. And from what I understand, you're going to be speaking. And the reason why we've invited you is because one of the entrepreneurs from your organization took the CEO course in September of last year. Yes. And she has a very positive review on it.
Oh, fantastic.
So she'll be speaking as well. And I want to thank you for that.
Yes. Yeah, and I think Dr. Jessica Griffin, she wants to take the course this coming round.
Oh, outstanding.
Yeah, and
I'm very familiar with her. Yes.
Yeah, there's some other people that probably want to get into it as well. Because so like I say, for the entrepreneurs that are doing the mainstream businesses, that this is definitely a good program. And for the startup founders, it's a good program too, because like in the near future, we're going to be offering the cohorts of folks that actually can get the entrepreneurship and small business certification. And it appears that the CEOH program was designed specifically to prepare you for that.
It is actually. It's live taught, so that's not where people are sitting there virtually listening to a recording. It is facilitated. And so this person is a very strong entrepreneur with a number of years of experience. As a matter of fact, he's taught, with this being the 7th iteration, all of these CEO opportunities for learning. And so you'll have the advantage of a training coordinator who will be there to guide you through the technical issues if there are any. This will be taught on Zoom. And as I mentioned, there are homework modules. So if you stay the course, the instructor or the facilitator will prepare you for taking that certification exam.
Fantastic. Ison, had you saw anything like this before that's for free for Black folks?
Nothing that actually gives you the dual kind of training where you have the entrepreneurship, but also it kind of leaves the door open that says, hey, okay, entrepreneurship may not be for everyone, but listen, apply this to your job so you can be successful.
Yes.
So this
Absolutely. Thank you for that. That's great insight. It is true.
Yes.
TechQuest Apprenticeship afforded the opportunity for apprenticeships in IT and cybersecurity. The grant is still taking on apprentices, so I can also share the information about that. And if you'll look at the nationwide offerings, because we are in 9 different states, but if you look at the nationwide offerings on the website I'm going to share with you, you'll see that CEO is listed as a pre-apprenticeship. So again, it is truly foundational for someone who would like to know more about what it takes. Even for the seasoned entrepreneur, we can never take it for granted that we know everything. And the element of having guest speakers there, which this time we do not have mentors for the first time, but we will have guest speakers from across the country who have experience in a variety of apprenticeships. I keep saying apprenticeships because that's just one of my parts of what I do with the company, but it still falls under, as I shared, and that's at the top. CEO is considered a pre-apprenticeship. Yes. And so these guest speakers will come from a variety of industries to address marketing, to address financials, to address legal considerations for business, as well as the operations aspect of it. And so as Lloyd is sharing with you, and I will also type that link into the chat, this is where you want to go to find out more about opportunities that you can share. So I'm asking each of you who are listening, if you will share this information with your circles of influence, if it is not for you, but you think that someone that you are in rapport with may have a use for this information, please share CEO.
Yes, and so I want to, Michelle, you connected us with company on here. Let's see if I can find it. Net SBS right here.
Yes.
They have a software developer pre-apprenticeship program. And so we've sent a local career source. We've referred like 7 people to that. And so they're getting 6 months of on-the-job training, $15 an hour for 21 hours a week, and getting 4 certificates. So that's the example of what these programs can do. And so before you go, Michelle, I just wanted to publicly thank you for the connections to all this kind of stuff, because it's really made a difference for the Kukua Institute. We through your connections, we formed some great partnerships, and it's enabled us to really take off this year. And by the way, I said that the bid thing, that was through a connection that Michelle gave me, that we were able to get that started. And so you can thank her for
awesome.
You having
I'm excited about it.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate you for saying so. It's back to this principle. If we have knowledge of resources, and when we have knowledge of resources, it is up to us to share this and bring people alongside us to work together and to communicate and build. And that's what I believe in wholeheartedly. I appreciate knowing you, Lloyd. We've known each other for over 20 years. And I promised that when I started with this new venture that I would definitely share with you what we were doing, because I know that it is in tandem with a lot of the activities that you have going on in our local community. So just to be able to make that connection and for you to say so, I'm honored, I'm humbled, I'm appreciative, I'm really thankful, and I'm excited about what is yet to come. So the more that we can reach out to help one another, you've connected me tonight with Hassan, and I'm thankful for that. So each of you who are here tonight, we have an amazing resource in Lloyd and Robin Richard in the Kukua Institute. And however we can be of help to one another, I'm thankful to be part of that. So thank you so much for the opportunity tonight to speak and for the people that you've introduced me to.
Fantastic. I know you have to get off to another meeting, so we're not going to hold you. We really appreciate you coming on to share.
Thank you.
Way to exhibit the each one teach one model.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Take care. We'll see you. All righty. So she's a really fantastic person. And so that we're definitely glad to have be connected to her, and she's also been referring a lot of people, that are looking for opportunities as well, and so and we definitely taking that to the next level. So I guess we can. So you and I just actually met for the first time this Monday, right? Online.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing how things go.
From there we connected on LinkedIn, and yes, now here we are.
Yes, that's fantastic. And so we typically start off so if you could kind of tell us about how you transitioned from high school to whatever career path you went on, and so we can kind of get an idea, what led you to, your startup and the company you're working for.
Sure, absolutely. And so, just good evening to everyone. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for, allowing me to share my story with you all. So, in high school, originally I'm from Northern New Jersey, attended high school in East Orange, New Jersey. And if we go back just a little bit, I had shared this with you, Lloyd. My personality type is that I'm very curious. I feel like I've always been curious, always getting into things from the time I was a little kid. Some people call it trouble, but other people say this person loves to explore and loves to ask questions. So when I first became a teenager, pretty much about 14 years old, and actually, if we go back to 13 years old, it was the first time I actually traveled abroad. And it gave me a sense of global business. It gave me a sense of global and international business. I saw McDonald's overseas. Now, this was before the age we're in of globalization, and we're kind of past globalization at this point. So it kind of like astounded me to see a Kentucky Fried Chicken and a McDonald's overseas and have the same menu. And then seeing, like hotels and Marriott, and like, okay, we have that back home. So the wheels started to turn, as they say, in my head in terms of business. At 14, I had a chance. I took a scholarship and I actually attended a university at the age of 14. This was in Cairo, Egypt. Again, I was curious. They asked who wanted to go. I said, I'll go. Like, I just wanted to go. I was curious. I wanted to find out. My parents, they allowed me, out of their kindness, they allowed me to go. So I was very independent. I was 14 years old. They sent me, under the care of someone who we knew, who was living over there and working over there. But I was very independent. He was never home. He was always at work. So I kind of had to learn the city. I had a guide, like a tour guide with me when I first got there. But after a few months, like I was on my own. So picture a 14-year-old, you're on your own. I had to learn the language, not just what I was learning in school, but I'm talking like they speak a different language from what you're learning in school versus what you got to do to get on the bus. So when you go to the market, it's like slang versus what you'll learn at Oxford. It's almost two totally different languages. So that was experience number 2 for me, like living on my own overseas. again, my parents taking care of me. So mom or dad, right? They send $100 and it turns to $500 over there. I'm like, okay,
Wow.
again, the light bulb is going off. Like, okay, this is how it works, huh? Like I'm living good, So came back to the States, I was 14. So you could say maybe I wasn't built for it long term. I wanted to come back home, right? And I missed mom's cooking and things like that. So came back home. Moved back to New Jersey. Went to high school, played sports, played football. I played sports growing up, but high school I played football. That was the path I wanted to go down, but I broke my foot my senior year. But it taught me a lesson, because, and another lesson I learned, it wasn't the coach's staff to like help me rehab my foot. It was my job. So, and I brought that lesson with me in life. I said, never again. If I fail at something, it's no one else's responsibility to help me get back up. That's on my shoulders. I used to get real sad at a certain point, because I would see, like, if you see people who you play against and then you see them on TV, it's like, wow, what could have been. So, but I got past that. But I said, I'm going to take the lesson that if I fail at something and I really want it, it's no one else's responsibility. It's my responsibility to go after it. So, I then went to college. I went to King University, which is in Union, New Jersey.
Okay.
Went there. I was an accounting major, right? I feel like I'm very gifted with numbers. Could do numbers really fast. So started off as an accounting major. I switched. I said, no, I want to learn business management. Switched to business management. So while in school, I first got introduced to the book Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Okay.
Early 2000s, 2003, around that time. Never, I'm from the inner city, have two honest, hardworking parents. But, so the whole financial markets and things like that wasn't really what I was kind of raised upon, and rightfully so. So with that being said, I started to learn what wealthy people did, at least what Rich Dad did versus the Poor Dad. Poor Dad wasn't poor by far, but he didn't necessarily have the certain mindset of what Robert Kiyosaki termed as, how wealthy people think.
That mindset is everything. Mindset is everything.
Correct. And I'll say, in fairness, I guess I didn't have the mindset, because I probably, if I knew back then what I know now, as they say, my father could have probably been taught me a lot of the things that I learned in that book. But again, I didn't know. So with that being said, I said, okay, I want to start trying some of this stuff out. So I finally gained the courage in 2005 or 2006. I started my own LLC.
Okay.
And the name of the LLC, it's similar to what people see on the screen, but it was Pursuit of Excellence Financials LLC. Okay. Just so everyone knows, my name, a lot of people have grown up ever since I was young in public school. My teachers were like, mess my name up, right? So, but what people should know, the name of the company is actually named after me. My name originally is Arabic, and it means excellence. So that's what I try to personify, and that's what I try to do in everything I endeavor. So I started Pursuit of Excellence Financials LLC in 2005. Because again, reading the book of Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I started to invest. I started to learn about the stock market, and I started to invest through my LLC, because that's what I read that the wealthy do. They don't invest personally, but they invest through their LLCs and businesses or what have you. I even went as far as I registered my car under my LLC.
Okay.
I'm a 21-year-old, what have you. My car is registered under my LLC. And I remember, true story, I remember being in a town called Milltown, New Jersey.
Yes.
Again, this is 2005, pre like a lot of the empowerment that African Americans are now enjoying. So I'm in a town called Milltown, New Jersey, which wasn't necessarily a African American friendly town. And I remember just driving. I wasn't speeding at all. I was just driving, and the police officer just sped up behind me, like he shot behind me. And then the only thing I can assume is he ran the plates, and then he saw Pursuit of Excellence Financials LLC. And maybe he was like, okay, well, this is a corporate car. Like, he can't be doing anything wrong. Or he could have been thinking like, well, they probably got lawyers. Let me leave him alone. So he literally went around me and just drove off. Like, that was it. So, okay. So again, I'm learning, and I didn't really do much or go further, but I always had a passion. I just I didn't know the how. My favorite channel back then was CNBC. That was my favorite channel. And when
Gotcha.
I learned about Bloomberg, I thought I was on top of the world. I said, okay, this is it. Like, definitely. Um, but I didn't know how. I didn't have that whole maybe mentorship or sponsorship which is available today. I remember my software engineering coach told me back in the summertime. I remember exactly where I was. I was in Atlanta because McKinsey, that's where my office is. So I was in Atlanta. My software engineering coach, his name is Coach Elvis. He said 10 years ago, we didn't have this, like all this mentorship. Like when he learned how to code, it was a lot more challenging and a lot more difficult. And I think, and I say the same thing to everyone that's on this call, the whole entrepreneurship and mentorship, 10 years ago, it wasn't like this, where you have people. Okay, so on Monday, the one class that I attended, right, through the Kukua Institute, you guys overwhelmed us with so much information. When I say information, good information, it's just so much information out there. Like in my head, and I was telling my co-founder this when we met today, I said, this is it. I have zero doubts that this is what I've been waiting for my whole life. This is it. Because it's just the hope is there. All we have to do is put forth the effort and the work. That's all, that comes with the territory. Anything you want, you have to strive for. But the mentorship is there, the resources are there, and all we have to do is kind of follow the advice and just work hard. So, I started Pursuit of Excellence Technologies Incorporated. So we're now an actual Delaware corporation. I applied, and we spoke about this. I'm in the summertime, I saw Microsoft for Founders. They were giving out, grants, or they were giving out different benefits.
Yeah.
I said, let's apply. I applied through Microsoft for Founders. They accepted me. By applying to Microsoft for Founders, they gave me I got a free $500 voucher from AngelList Stack. AngelList Stack did all the paperwork. They incorporated us in Delaware.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you what how did you know to do it in Delaware? So that's how yeah.
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Okay. So that they also Rich Dad Poor Dad also refer to Delaware corporations?
I learned a long time ago, yes, that because of the tax benefits. And even, I remember being, and I remember in real time, or in real life, as they say, I remember being an Uber driver, right? I live in Philadelphia. So I remember driving someone to Delaware. And I remember them telling me, just advising me, like, hey, man, it was actually, I was driving a guy to a wedding, believe it or not. He was like, hey, man, if you ever want to buy a car, he's like, come here to Delaware, man. It's like no state taxes. So yeah, I kind of learned about the tax advantages of Delaware through Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah. So like, but what you said, you joined the Microsoft for startups and for founders, and one of the benefits actually covered the cost of you. And now, say I didn't even know that was a benefit of the Microsoft for startups program.
Yes,
so,
they covered.
So, yeah. So that little piece of information you just shared. So you're telling founders that at the idea stage with the Microsoft for startups, you can get a voucher to start to form your company.
It was almost too good to be true. Like I thought it had to be a catch, or I thought I had to pay. when they literally said, we're doing all the work for you, all I had to do was provide the input, just provide the information, addresses, name. They did everything, even to the point, I'll be honest, to the point, Pursuit of Excellence Technologies, we have 10 million shares of stock.
Yes.
Now it doesn't vest for 3 years, but we have 10 million shares of stock that in 3 years approximately will be fully vested. And then at that, it sets the stage for us in terms of an exit strategy or what have you, or maybe going public.
So like, it's probably a lot of founders out there going to probably be wishing they had heard this, because this was something I didn't even know, because we've been referring people to the Gus launch program, where you have to pay $1,000 to get all this work done. And here you're telling me that by joining Microsoft for Startups, you can get it for free.
Absolutely free. Absolutely free.
Yeah. So audience, what do y'all think about that? Yeah. So it's so hard to kind of like all these programs that are out there. It's kind of, you just have to, like you said, be curious.
Now I do have to warn. I will warn people because I had to learn this. I learned this on my own. I got a letter. No, it was free, but once you become a corporation, you have to pay taxes.
Yeah.
So I did get a bill in the mail, months later. But every year, once you become a corporation, every year you have to pay taxes. Yes.
Yeah, that's the cost of doing business. But so, how did you just happen to run across Microsoft for Startups?
Great question. So, I had applied. A few things was going on back then. I had applied for the Founders Institute Atlanta cohort, and originally I applied for the Philadelphia cohort, and I got turned down. I got rejected, and I asked them for feedback. I think they might have shared some feedback with me, but I wasn't deterred. I said, okay, I won't get it. I can't get in Philadelphia. I'm going to try Atlanta. So, and being that I thought I was going to be moving to Atlanta because my office is there. I was down there briefly, but came back here to Philadelphia. So I tried Atlanta and I got into the Atlanta cohort. So I was very active at that time, very active in the summer. And just so happens I just came across the Microsoft for Founders program.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of the pre-accelerator programs, the incubator programs, accelerator programs, they have partnerships with all these different companies that offer programs for founders, and so that's a really that's normally how most people find out about them. Yeah, so that's good. Right. So before we go a little bit more into your startup stuff and your founder journey, how did you get hooked up with McKinsey?
Okay, great question. McKinsey has always been like a dream company of mine. I'll be honest. Even when I was in undergrad school, being a business major, living in northern New Jersey, my whole goal was to work on Wall Street. In my senior year of college, I did my internship at Merrill Lynch. They actually offered me a job. I was young. Hindsight is 2020, right? I turned it down, believe it or not, because that whole entrepreneurial drive. I was also working on another project with a broker in New York City. And me being 23, my payout was supposed to be $350,000. This was back in 2006. So I'm 23-year-old kid. I didn't necessarily have the wisdom or the vision. But also, again, hindsight is 2020 because 2 years later we had the Wall Street meltdown. So who knows what could have or what would have happened. So I turned down the job at Merrill Lynch, but I always had the goal to work on Wall Street. Now, fast forward. Also, my son was born my senior year of college. I got married early, as we discussed. So my son was born my senior year of college. So I wound up, I wasn't able to follow the career path that I wanted to. And, I had to just find like jobs for, I got to pay bills now. But I always had this itch or this passion to start a business. So about 2015, I started, noticing that these smaller, when I say small, compared to companies that I knew, like Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley, I started noticing these small companies over in California, Silicon Valley, their profits were just as much or sometimes even greater than some of these Wall Street companies. So my antennas went up, the antennas went up, as they say. I'm like, okay, what? I think I might have went to school for the wrong major or something. Like something's happening over here with these tech companies. And so that's when I started to pay attention to tech. And I noticed there was one common theme. Mostly all of the founders knew how to at least code. Mark Zuckerberg to Bill Gates. I said, I got to learn how to code. So from 2015, baby steps. I didn't know how to get into the field. I didn't really know much about it. I would like subscribe to maybe a group or what have you, but I really didn't know. Ultimately, I'll have to give credit. Her name is Tristine Harris. So just in the summer of 2021, I was out in Utah working. Like I was doing construction. So we used to actually install LED lights in retail stores like Ross. Before Sears went out of business, we were installing the LED lights in there. So I was traveling. Literally, I was living in a hotel on and off between 2008, 2019 to 2021. I was living in hotels. because that's what the job entailed. Like the company was based in Dallas, but we would be in Dallas, we would be in Florida, or what have you. So I came back, and I was the term I would use is dejected. I was at my lowest. You know, it was a bad. It's good because me and the owner of the company we're like friends now. We talk, but it just didn't end well at that time. It didn't end well. I came back to Philadelphia and I was delivering pizza. Like college degree, I'm not ashamed to say it. I was delivering pizza. I wasn't selling drugs, so I'm not ashamed to say it at all. I was delivering pizza. I was driving Uber. You know, like this is what I was doing. So again, someone I went to school with, we used to go to like NYU, the conferences. We were very ambitious. She reached out like, hey, what you doing? And she started talking to me like, okay, you need to get your resume together. Like, hey, we're gonna start making $100,000. I was listening to her, but in the back of my head, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like me make $100,000, like literally. But you know, she just kept pushing, and then she finally sent me a link for this nonprofit called Generation USA.
Okay.
And so when I saw that they had a full stack program, I couldn't believe it. And it was free. I said, I just like immediately registered. I didn't even tell my wife. I almost got in trouble. Like anyone on the call, before you make a life decision, don't do that. But I didn't even tell my wife. I just like joined the program. You know, I joined the program, and to make a long story short, okay, so I got into the program and I'm learning about coding, and then they said McKinsey was hiring for apprenticeships, and to me it was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer. Like I said, okay, I'm applying because again, it was like the best of both worlds. It was like McKinsey and then tech. So
you know, so hold on a second. So I'm so glad you're saying this or sharing this, because those apprenticeship things I was showing you, they like the one that said nationwide, they literally are for nationwide for people. And here you're saying you went to a free software boot camp thing that actually that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And even I firmly believe you don't necessarily want to cut corners, but I've worked so many jobs. So I've worked in sales. You know, just because a person says no doesn't mean no. Like it might mean not at that time, but unless they say like unless the door is closed doesn't mean no. So literally the program said it was like Atlanta or Dallas. I'm like, I'm not in Atlanta, I'm not in Dallas, but I'm going to try anyway. And I just applied, and I found out that you could be remote. It wasn't a problem, even though the cohort said Atlanta. You didn't have to be in Atlanta. So I applied and got in, and you know, just was in the program. I wasn't the top student at all. By far, I wasn't the top student. I used to be in class. It got to the point that my teacher, I used to be driving while in class doing deliveries, and my teacher said, "Look, man, like you know, you don't have to be on camera, like," because he didn't want me to get into a car accident. So you know, people like it was embarrassing. I mean, I used to have to sit in the car in the freezing cold in wintertime. I didn't have a computer. I didn't have internet, but you know, I just stuck through it. You know, I was fortunate that I just stuck through it. And
yeah, how long was that course?
It was a 5-month course, 5-month program. So in month 3 or month 4, that's when they said that McKinsey was hiring. So I just went all in. I went for it, and you know, fortunately, I got the position. And from there,
so you're saying that you know everyday people with aptitude that's out there struggling, they can get connected to a program like this, you know, that's free, and learn how to code or whatever, and change their whole life. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's worth its weight in gold, you know, right there. And so we got a lot of people here in our area that are not familiar with these opportunities. And this particular one, I'm definitely not familiar with, but I really came to the conclusion last year. There's so many funded things out there. All Kukua Institute needs to do is connect people to these programs.
Right. Mm-hmm. Correct.
So it's fantastic. So so for you was the, you know, not being a techie was the learning the code challenging for you?
Yes, yes. I'll be honest, it is, and it was challenging. For one, like I said, for me, I was distracted a lot of times because I
Yes.
was maybe, but the one thing I believe that I I've been fortunate. I know what it feels like to be broken. I know what it feels like to. I remember in 2013, I was in the unemployment office so much that one of the unemployment counselors walked up to me in the line. We used to have to wait in line outside to get in. He walked up to me in the line and he handed me $100 bill.
Oh, wow.
I used to be there every day. This was 2013. And I felt bad one day because I remember walking past his desk and I saw pictures of his children. I said that $100 could have went to his children, but he gave it to me. Like I will never. I'm sure he probably forgot. This is 2013. Me, I'll never forget it. So, but your circumstance, you had whatever your circumstance is. Yes, you can rise above it. So regardless of whatever position you're in. So I was always distracted.
Let's get one. So how long have you been at McKinsey?
I've been at McKinsey since March of last year, so
Okay.
It's coming up on a year.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, but I'm glad you shared your journey, because a lot of folks out there think that you can't, your family life and take care of your family, but at the same time you can, part-time be working on your startup, and that's kind of, and that's why I invite founders on at all stages, so people can see, because a lot of people think you can't share anything about what you're doing until you get it up and running and it's perfect, and that's absolutely not true. That's the worst mistake you can make. So what made you start so you started your LLC, your corporation, I guess last year, you said?
Yes.
Yeah.
Officially July of last year was the birth or the
Yeah.
beginning of Pursuit of Excellence Technologies Incorporated.
Yes. And so tell us a little bit what made you decide to pursue this particular idea.
Absolutely. So for myself, again, being always being very curious. The one thing it's always fascinated me is just technology, and then specifically, I'll say the Internet of Things.
Okay.
But to give everyone a little better understanding, my father, remember, he gave me some very good advice when I first started McKinsey. He gave me some personal advice, and I'll share it. He told me to not forget who I am, because I'm scared. Hopefully, in July, I'll be 40 years old, so everyone knows.
Mm-hmm.
You have some 9-year-old kids somewhere in this world, they can run circles around me in terms of technology. Literally, a 9-year-old kid can run circles around me in terms of coding and programming. So that's not necessarily my strength. But you know what? That's okay. That's all right. Because I have other strengths, and each of us have other strengths. So my father told me by him telling me not to forget who I was, telling me to be happy and utilize what my strengths are. I've lived in, for example, I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. At one point, you probably know, but at one point, Newark, New Jersey was the stolen capital. It was the stolen car capital, if not the world, it was of the United States of America for sure. I'm not sure of the world. They even made a movie, if you remember, called New Jersey Drive.
Okay.
So I've had to live through these experiences. I've had to wake up to hearing gunshots. Nothing to be proud of or to brag about, but it was my reality. So I've worked again, my career path has not been linear. So I've worked in incarceration facilities, right? So I've gone to work with a white shirt on, button-up shirt, and I've come home with blood on my shirt. Not because I was fighting, but because there was fighting going on in the facility. This is my reality. This is who I am. So my father advised me to embrace it. So what we're doing at Pursuit of Excellence is we're looking at the problems that everyday people face and the challenges. I've heard stories, for example, I remember my ex-brother-in-law telling me about East Cleveland. The word he used for East Cleveland was that it was depressing. In Philadelphia, for example, where I live, you know, unfortunately, just the other day, a police officer from Temple University was killed.
Yeah, I saw that in the news. Yeah.
That's down the street from where I live. Maybe
Mhm.
2 days later, in the same block, on the same block, 2 kids got shot walking home from school.
Wow.
So, you know, and it's like everybody has their hands tied. You know, I used to work security. Also, I used to work security in a hotel. The thing that blew my mind, like you wouldn't hear this from the police. You would have to be close to them. I heard this come out of a police officer's mouth, and it almost shook me to my core. The police officer said, and again, this is at the embassy suite, so I'm the security guard. The police officer said out of his own mouth, he didn't say this out loud. He said on a Saturday night, we don't have enough manpower. Like he was kind of just advising us to keep things down. He was like, don't rock the boat. If somebody having a party in the hotel, just don't rock the boat. Because he said out of his own mouth, on a Saturday night, we don't have the manpower for the whole city. So our goal at Pursuit of Excellence Technology is we're trying to help solve this problem of safety. Because honestly, without safety and security, you as an individual nor the society will be able to reach their full potential. The inner city is filled with talent. Okay, I'll go a step further. The prisons are filled with talent. Forget the inner city. The prisons I've met some of the most intelligent people that are incarcerated. Unfortunately, you know, maybe they've used their intelligence for nefarious or negative purposes. So you'll never have a group, you know, people who live in, if they don't have these two basic things of safety and security, they'll never be able to reach their full potential, whether that's the economy of that city reaches full potential because of less foot traffic, because people are scared of getting shot, getting robbed, etc. So again, that's what we're building. So you see on the website, you see these 2 cars or what have you. You know, what our goal is and what we're doing, we plan to operate in various industries or what have you. But you can see here, we help solve some of the world's toughest challenges through AI, IoT, and robotic powered systems.
Okay.
The things that you want to change, maybe you read about and you don't know how to change it. So we have, you have a smart home up here, but our main focus right now, starting off, is the whole aspect of safety and security. That's kind of our main focus where we're starting in terms of building our MVP, what we're working on right now. We want to help make people's properties, their belongings, and just their environment a little more safer. And that's just, again, simply using the technology that's out there in terms of smart devices. Help you have an extra set of eyes, as they say. Help you be able to keep a little better tabs on your property. Help you be able to connect to law enforcement a little easier, things of that nature. So that's really what we're working on right now. We plan to solve. There's a trend going on, and it's sad, but in the majority of a lot of the major metro areas, this is where we're targeting. A lot of the major metro areas, unfortunately, you have mostly minorities living in these high crime areas, but a lot of property crimes, I should say, they're sadly on the rise. And again, it seems like a lot of, whether it's law enforcement, not saying they can't do their job, but it seems like their hands are tied. Like they don't, again, like the police officer said, they don't have the resources, and people are struck like they don't know what to do. Like, I can't protect my car, I might get carjacked, like get in the house, be in the house by 6. Our whole goal is to revolutionize, disrupt, and change how the status quo is, especially in the inner cities.
Yeah. So like I see, so have you had a chance to actually go? You said something about the Founders Institute. Had you had a chance to go through a startup program before, and kind of what was your takeaway from that?
Okay, great question. So the Founders Institute, we did get accepted into that.
Okay.
As I think you and I discussed, they charge a fee if you pay it up front. It's like $800, and then they take a percentage, maybe 3 or 4% of the company. We decided to not go that route.
Okay.
It wasn't what was best for us at the time. I actually, and you know, nothing against the Founders Institute. When I told them that I no longer wanted to participate in the company, within a day, maybe the same day, or I think it was the same day, they immediately refunded me my money. So
Oh,
I have
wow.
nothing bad to say about them at all. If anyone in the audience is thinking of, you know, applying to the Founders Institute, I have nothing bad to say. There are other options. I've had mentors, and some of them advised me to go, for example, through Y Combinator, which I did apply as a solo founder, and I was denied, and that's all right. We also applied to StartX, which is connected to Stanford University. We got denied, and that's all right. We're scheduled to get feedback from StartX on the 21st of March, the 20th or the 21st of March. And as for Y Combinator, now I have a co-founder, so we plan on applying again.
So like you know, with Y Combinator, they have the
Yes.
startupschool.org, and
Yes.
if you go through that, you know, that sort of will let you know exactly what they're looking for. And Y Combinator is a good example of a company that literally open source everything about being a founder and a startup. And
Right.
so, like, well, part of our playbook is to tell people to enroll in the startup school, because you will really learn the whole concept of growth, and you know, and just continually trying to go. And I say also, you learn that you start from you know, doing things manually, and then as you improve that they work, and then you build something from what you were doing manually.
Correct.
And so it's really a good foundation to help founders understand. And so the first day in our playbook is actually the Sam Altman talk about being a founder, and that's when he was running Y Combinator. And so it's literally the foundation for you to kind of wrap your head around what the journey is of being a founder. That's why you know, it's high up, you know, in our playbook that we, you know, recommend to our startup on the blocks founders. If they don't even, you know, that's what we told people to do, because we didn't, when we got started, we didn't have any training to offer them. So we say we're enrolled in the startup school, because that program is free, and you can learn, you know, the things that you need to know to kind of grow your startup. And so what you have to understand about Y Combinator is that potentially, you know, if you got a good team, you know, you may be able to get in there without any traction, but you have, generally you need some type of traction and some type of growth before you're going to get in there. And they're pretty open about, you know, they even have how to, you know, they have how to fill out their application. They don't hide anything. And so that's a good thing. But what I recommend is going through their startupschool.org before you actually you know, make sure you're kind of ready. But just, you can, you know, just, but the good thing is you applied and they see you at a certain stage, and then the next time you apply, maybe you at a further along and they see your progress, and then you may get rejected again. Next time you at a further along, you got a co-founder, and you apply again, and so they actually see your progress.
Exactly.
And that's what gives you credibility, you know, to get in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be honest, you know, and hopefully this resonates with the audience, but, you know, coming from where I come from, you know, I remember, you know, I lived in the projects at one point. So, you know, I have no like shyness to work for what I'm, you know, aspiring for, and what I want to achieve. And you know, then when I joined McKinsey, you know, the room of people who you could say the people, like the level of their expertise, and I'm in the same room as these people that hold patents or what have you. And even us at Pursuit of Excellence Technologies, we filed our first provisional patent. We filed our first provisional patent. Never in a million years would I have thought that I would be a part of filing a patent for something. So, you know, when you mentioned startup school, I think, that's great advice. I just encourage anyone on this call to definitely, use these resources such as startup school, the Kukua Institute. Again, I told my co-founder, I said, this is it,
Yeah. So like we're close to time, but the audience, I'm pretty sure somebody out there got some questions. So if you got any questions for Isan, or if you just got any question about what you're doing in your startup, we're going to take 5 minutes here and answer those questions. So if you got them, please go ahead and post them in the chat there so we can um, um, can answer them. Yeah, I think your journey, your story, and it's it's kind of unusual, but it's a really good example. But what I also see that when you and your co-founder and you actually add him to your team in the Idea Accelerator, I think you're going to learn some things that are and if you follow the methodology, you're really gonna move forward. I can always depend on Ron. Ask this question here, Versil. Yeah, so let's get Ron first, and then we'll go to Versil.
Okay, so this is a great question. In terms of how do we monetize our business?
It's your revenue model. It's basically that's the revenue model question. Which is typically on your slide deck. What's your revenue model?
Yes, pretty much monthly service charge, a monthly service fee for the service. Again,
so basically you have to communicate, and this is why we like to work with founders, and you can say who is the customer, who's the users, and we charge our customers this monthly fee, and you may have some users or something like that. So when you're filling out these applications or in a pitch competition, you end up being concise on how you answer those questions, because if the pitch competition judge is unsure how you make money, and when you fill out an application for a program, if they're unsure how you make money, you lost the game.
Right. No, absolutely. And this is something that in the lean canvas.
Who's the customer first? That's who are you charging this monthly fee? I guess that's the way you have to communicate it.
Right. The monthly fee is being charged to the actual end user. Again, you might see on the website, you see different services. This is our,
you have to say, like, is it the city or is it the police department?
Correct. No, for example, okay, the term that we love using, it's funny because the movie Law Abiding Citizen, right, with Jamie Foxx, it happened in Philadelphia, of all places. So we love to use this term in our our corporate speak when we talk, and when we were writing our lean canvas. That's really our customer. Our customer is the law-abiding citizen who just wants to live in safety and security.
Okay, so you have a B2C business model, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So
this is for the first product that we're currently building, the MVP.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. And then Versil is asking, are you pre-revenue?
Yes, we are.
Yes. And so so this is what I tell all founders, you have to be clear and concise when you're talking about what you're doing, and don't leave any doubt in what's going on. And so but good news for you is that this 30-day Idea Accelerator is going to teach you how to do that perfectly. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so when you can do that perfectly, you have access to more programs and help. And that's what the key to, and so we've been offering the training for about a year now, and that's the hardest thing to communicate to people is if you simply do those lessons that the foundations, which you completed the foundation training I saw, and I think you're through with the business model design training as well, right?
Um,
Or you may have started on. I think you
yes,
started on.
yes.
You
I
know,
think I'm in season 2.
yeah, so that's the business model design training.
Yes.
And so you can literally finish that part of the training. So you just got access to the program on Monday, right?
Yes.
And here it is Thursday, you're almost through all the training. The training is literally less than 10 hours to get through both seasons, but the fun is working on the tools in the training, like you have to make several lean canvases, and then you have to keep experimenting with your traction roadmap, to make sure your business is, is desirable, feasible, and viable. And so we've been trying to get people just to see that simple thing. If you just do that, you're set for the rest of the journey. But if you don't do that, you're not set for the rest of the journey. Finishing the coursework is less than 10 hours. That's what we've been trying to communicate with these founders. And literally, once you learn how to do that, you're set to go win pitch competitions. You're set to get in these programs, but you have to learn how to do that. Yeah,
absolutely.
All right. Well, we took a little extra time, but I think it was worth it. With you sharing your story, and so you're a perfect example. It doesn't matter where you are, where you've been. It's just you're actually working on something, and you're taking advantage of the opportunities that are out there. You taught us some stuff today. There's even a program out there that'll pay for you incorporating your business. We didn't even know that.
Yeah, they exist. Got to be resourceful.
Yep, that's exactly right, man. We really appreciate having you on the program tonight. You've been very insightful, and it's going to be a treat for folks to go back and listen to your story, and it's a real inspiring story, to help people move forward. And I think a lot of the programs that we're trying to connect, because we know that there are people out there doing laborious jobs, and they don't know about these programs where you can get the training for free, and you can we didn't know about that particular program either. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The software development one, here people are paying for some of these things, and like 15 grand for a 6-month program. And here you got into a program that's actually free. Yeah. And so so you gave us several excellent things for us to learn tonight, and we really appreciate it. Having any parting comments before we sign off?
I was very honored, and I am honored that just to be a part of this, circle of positivity, and only good can come from this. And I hope everyone has taken, at least one thing that will help them in their pursuit. In their pursuit to excellence.
Yeah. So this Blacks in Technology program that you're in, that we're doing, it's they put up the money, and so it's free to all members of Blacks in Government. Blacks in Technology, and it doesn't cost the audience. It doesn't cost you anything to join. And then, like at the end of the 30-day thing, there's going to be we're going to narrow it down to 10 people, and then they're going to compete for 3,000. And then we're going to repeat that 4 times this year. And then we're also going to do a launch program, a 90-day program where you actually learn how to actually design the solution, et cetera, and do a mafia offer to kind of get some customers out there. But just so everybody knows, we're also expecting some funding from Florida Power and Light that to be able to offer the training to more people, and to provide more pitch competitions and access to funding as well. So we're definitely totally excited. Yeah, and so so you got anything else before we click off here? I see in your chat thing you put thanks for listening, so you can just say it.
Yeah, so just thank you to everyone, for your time. There's a lot of other things you all could have been doing, so I appreciate you lending me your ear.
Yes,
Thank you for inviting me, of all things. Thank you.
Yeah. So we're definitely ecstatic that you're on, and I think we're going to get a lot of views for your video, and I'm definitely going to take some clips out of there to post on social media. All righty, well, you have a good night, and thanks for coming on. We appreciate everybody out there, and thanks for chiming in. Good night, everyone. We'll see you all next.